So we've got some more troubling news related to jobs and the economy this morning. UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs due to slower shipments, and they are citing the fact that they are getting far fewer deliveries via Amazon. Amazon is UPS's biggest customer, and they are slowing down their deliveries due to the economic conditions caused by Donald Trump's tariffs. The job cuts represent around 4% of UPS's workforce. They also announced that they are going to close 73 of its buildings by the end of June 2025. Companies all across the country are bracing for a massive slowdown of the economy and far fewer sales. Price increases are also already taking effect, and shortages are soon expected. We're going to continue to follow this story and more, so make sure you're following our account and add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We've got a new episode out right now.
So I just saw that UPS is getting rid of 20,000 jobs in 70 facilities. At what point do the Republicans go, yeah, we've seen enough? Throw in the white towel. It's time to impeach this guy. I mean, how far are they going to let the economy fall? Because they're risking everything at this point. UPS, 20,000 jobs, that's a lot of jobs, and it's not going to be the last. There's going to be another announcement that's going to be thousands, another announcement that's going to be thousands. It's going to get bad, and at what point do you abandon the sinking ship? It's been 100 days, I get that, but you got to be getting close. You got to be getting concerned. But I don't know what's going on through their heads, because they're not going to survive this, just like Trump's not going to survive this. Something's going to happen.
So we're all screwed, that's no question. But I've been trying to figure out how exactly to articulate how screwed we all are, how dire this situation is. And I think I've got it. We all know that statistic that 1% of the population owns 50% of the wealth. But when we're talking about such big numbers, such a big population, such a big amount of money, it's hard to really fathom how screwed that is. But I think I've got it. Imagine that all of this country's wealth is a parking lot. And in that parking lot, there are 100 spaces. And the entire population of our country is exactly 100 cars. Now, in a perfect world, 100 cars would fill 100 spaces. Obviously, nobody's expecting that to happen, but that would be idealistically equal for everybody. However, at this very moment, one car in this parking lot is occupying 50 spaces. One car is taking up 50 spaces of this 100 space parking lot. And the rest of us are expected to park in the other 50 spaces. 99 cars in 50 parking spaces. And if that didn't sound crazy enough, this one car who is taking up 50 parking spaces, not only are they occupying 50% of the available necessary parking spaces to exist, they also own the parking lot, and they are allowing us to circulate through the other 50 parking spaces so that we can continue to exist and fund their 50 spaces. We're screwed.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but did I just hear that April 29th will be the last day cargo ships will be delivering imported goods to the US on the West Coast, and then May 10th on the East Coast? What exactly happens when those products are gone? The shelves are empty. There's no more replenishment. What happens to the American people? Is his or their ego so big that they need to win this trade war at the expense of the American people's well-being? Like, are we just gonna die off one by one? Because you know damn well it's not gonna hurt him or his millionaire and billionaire friends. They will get the products somehow. What happens then?
UPS just announced that they're cutting 20,000 jobs. I'm not going to panic just yet. When they cut jobs from the post office, that's when I'll start panicking. Them motherfuckers will hire anybody. I worked at the post office for 3 years, on and off, because they kept letting me come back. You could literally walk into a post office right now. No badge, not have put in an application, didn't even take the test. They won't even know who you are. They'll just put you to work. They'll be like, hey, you'll take Route 20? You'll take C18? yeah, we need you to go ahead and take these packages that's sitting right here. You ain't even got to take one of the trucks. If you got a car big enough, they'll throw it in the back of your car. I've taken my car plenty of times on routes. They be like, oh, you driving the Journey today? Yeah. Go ahead and take Route 3 and go ahead and load up C22 because we going to need you to take them routes. I promise you, when they start making cuts, that's when it's time to be scared. That's when it's time to panic because they'll let anybody work there. Anybody. They'll let a dog work there. They'll let a cricket that jumped in through the door work at the post office. I promise you, anybody can work at the post office. So when they start making cuts, that's when it's time to panic because them folks don't care. They'll pay you as long as you work. They may not pay you accurately. They may not pay you on time, but they're going to pay you eventually if you're willing to work.
We have breaking news right now. UPS has announced that it'll be cutting 20,000 jobs this year because of cost-cutting measures because of fewer deliveries from Amazon. Layoffs will impact about 4% of its workforce. Now, you want to know why there are fewer deliveries from Amazon? Because people are purchasing less right now because the economy's not as great. And also, there are fewer imports coming into America because of tariffs and higher costs. This move, according to CBS News, is part of UPS's plan to consolidate its facilities and workforce. It'll close about 73 buildings as well by the end of June 2025. But in today's regulatory filing, UPS said, quote, the cuts are in connection with our anticipation of lower volumes from our largest company. And as a result of this consolidation plan, UPS is expected to save more than $3.5 billion in revenue just this year. We'll see what happens next, but know that cost cuts are coming for UPS. Job cuts are coming. Spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, link to my bio, so subscribe for free and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs directly related to tariffs.
You start to not only diminish your own worth, but you're also taking away that wonderful compliment that someone was trying to give you.
20,000 jobs. And that doesn't count like all the truckers that are going to be out of jobs, all the people that work at the ports that are going to be out of jobs. The trickle-down effect caused by these tariffs is going to affect every single person. Every single person. Remember during COVID when we couldn't get the microchips? Now imagine that times a million, because China controls 90% of our rare earth stuff, minerals and things. 90%. They make all of our saline solution. They control, I think, 80% of all the stuff that's needed to keep a hospital running. No more. When hospitals start shutting down, will you understand then that this man has no business running a country? Then will you understand? I mean, sexual assault didn't matter. All the felony counts didn't matter. The fact that he was using his Trump organization to steal from child cancer research didn't matter. Will it matter when you can't run your household because of crazy decisions this man made that benefited no one but him? Get back to me on that.
Breaking, UPS just announced that it will be cutting 20,000 jobs due to tariffs. High tariffs means fewer packages sent, which means UPS needs fewer workers. Many companies that use UPS to ship have already informed it that they are looking to cut costs this year. And amongst those is its largest customer, Amazon. Amazon has already started to raise prices, which means that people are buying less. On top of the 20,000 jobs that UPS will be cutting this year, it already cut 12,000 jobs late last year, bringing the total to 32,000 jobs lost. Overall, UPS will pay $500 million in severance and other related costs to these layoffs. But even with those $500 million in cost, it expects to save $3.5 billion from cutting all these workers and from getting rid of certain buildings that it owns and operates. UPS has also refused to issue profit estimates for the year, saying that it's just too difficult with all the uncertainty around tariffs. This is terrible news, but people are losing jobs due to the reduced trade volume from tariffs. To everyone saying these people wouldn't be affected, you just made the D3 list, a podcast about dumb, desperate, and diabolical business decisions.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So UPS, United Parcel Service, is going to be laying off 4% of the United States workforce, and that comes down to 20,000 people. Now, the reason they're laying these people off is because the number of deliveries are dropping drastically. They're not exactly sure how far it's going to drop, but it's enough to where they're laying off 20,000 people to start with. And this is all due to the tariffs that are making imports so expensive that Amazon, other companies, they've pulled back from their contracts with UPS on deliveries. So they don't need those delivery drivers anymore. So they're going to be laid off in the job market. Now, this is just the first big company that's coming out in the delivery services that is cutting their workforce. Now, we know Americans, we love products to be delivered to our front door. Well, it looks like it's going to be harder to get those things now that 20,000 less drivers are on the road, but we're going to see more. The United States unemployment rate, just get ready for it next month. We're going to see an increase in unemployment for sure as jobs are leaving America due to the tariffs.
So did y'all see that UPS yesterday came out and said that they're going to be closing 70 facilities and they're going to be getting rid of 20,000 jobs? That is crazy. Because I believe that it was like low production, like nothing is really popping. Like nobody's buying stuff and nobody's shipping anything. 20,000 jobs. That's 20,000 people that are about to lose their jobs. And they're saying this all is going to happen close to June or near June. It's about to be May tomorrow. That means within a month and a half, we're going to have 20,000 people jobless. And it's crazy because people are not really hiring like they should be hiring, right? And then you're not paying people what we should be paid according to what's going on in the world right now. And y'all over here cutting 20,000 jobs? This is ridiculous.
UPS announced it's going to be cutting 20,000 jobs this year as those workers become the latest victims of Trump's global tariff war. And I'm covering a second trucking story this video, so buckle in. The shipping and trucking industry are about to be absolutely decimated by Trump's tariff war. Roughly 40% of everything we domestically move freight-wise is imported goods. So those imported goods not even coming in is going to decimate the entire trucking industry. It was reported just a couple days ago that roughly 40% of the cargo ships leaving China are completely empty. And for anyone who's confused as to why they would run an empty ship, that's how supply chains work. You need the ship to keep going to all its different stops in order to keep that supply chain running, even if you have to have an empty ship. And we're nowhere near the full effect of this yet. By next week, the Port of Los Angeles is expecting a 35% decrease in port arrivals. And that is why the Trump administration is saying that in order to be allowed to be a truck driver in America, you have to be able to speak English. It's because there's going to be massive firings of truck drivers coming up, and they would much rather be blamed for being racist towards people who don't speak English than they would recognizing that their economic policies are a complete and total failure.
Bad news for the U.S. economy thanks to Donald Trump. UPS today has announced they will be laying off 20,000 employees and closing over 70 facilities between now and June because of Donald Trump's tariffs. UPS gets a large portion of their business, their delivery business, from Amazon. Amazon, because of the tariffs, are seeing a great reduction, and if you look at the prices, you'll see why, in the shipments that are being requested for Amazon. So they know they're going to need less, so therefore UPS is laying off 20,000 now. It may be more later when all these other businesses slow down. More and more and more, thanks to Donald Trump's tariffs. All of these tariffs are unnecessary. They do nothing to help the economy. They do nothing to help Americans. They're going to cost us jobs. They're going to be detrimental to people. And it's all thanks to Donald Trump and his infinite wisdom, which is clearly it's infinite. It's so infinite we can't even see it. also work for a company that's impacted in some way by Donald Trump's tariffs where they're laying off people, let me know. You can DM me. I won't use your name, but I'm trying to put this out to let people know the reality of how Trump is making America great again. MAGA, this is really making America great again by causing companies to have to lay off people because of a tariff that was not useful in any way whatsoever, period. Clearly not thought out. Clearly, none of this is helpful to America or U.S. citizens in any way, shape, or form. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. And I'm sorry if you've been negatively impacted by this. Everybody that does anything in the U.S. basic is going to be impacted by Trump and this, and everybody's going to feel it. Thank you, Donald Trump. You truly care about the American people. There's only one thing you care about, and this is not it.
Big news out of UPS. They're laying off 20,000 employees. And the reason they're doing this is because Amazon shipments are just down that drastically. So this is going to affect about 4% of their workforce. And why are Amazon shipments down so much? Well, obviously people aren't purchasing as much. I've heard some people throw around tariffs. I've heard people throw around the economy, and all of those things could be true. But is this necessarily a bad thing if people are now buying things locally? Also, during the pandemic, Amazon is one of the few places that actually increased their sales. Their profitability during that time went up 220% because obviously everyone was at home and ordering stuff from home. During the same time, a lot of local small businesses, restaurants, mom and pop stores, a lot of them were struggling and still haven't made it all the way back. This is on top of them announcing last year that they were going to be cutting 12,000 jobs. And not only are they cutting these jobs, they're going to be closing 73 different locations of their facilities by June of this year, 2025.